History is full of giants, names we all know. But what about the unsung heroes? The quiet innovators whose work changes the world without their names ever becoming household words. This is the story of one such hero. A woman whose intuition and stubborn refusal to accept failure gave us a material that saves lives every single day. It's the early 1960s. The world is on the cusp of major change. The post-war economic boom is in full swing, but storm clouds are gathering on the horizon. Geopolitical tensions are simmering, and experts are beginning to whisper about a looming oil crisis. For the automotive industry, this spells trouble. Gas is cheap, but it won't be forever. Cars are heavy, inefficient metal beasts. The race is on to find a way to make them lighter, more fuel-efficient, without sacrificing strength. This is the challenge facing DuPont, one of the world's largest chemical companies. They need a new, lightweight, yet incredibly strong fiber to replace the heavy steel belts used in tires. The task falls to their pioneering research laboratory, a place filled with the brightest minds in chemistry. And among them is Stephanie Kwolek. In an era where science was overwhelmingly a man's world, Kwolek was an anomaly. She had initially planned to go to medical school, taking a job at DuPont simply to save up money. But she fell in love with the thrill of discovery, the puzzle of polymer chemistry. Yet, even with her passion and talent, she was still an outsider in many ways. A woman navigating a male-dominated field, driven by a quiet but fierce curiosity. Her project was to synthesize new, long-chain polymers, hoping to create the superfiber DuPont was looking for. The standard procedure was well established. You mix your chemical compounds to create a polymer solution, which should be thick, clear, and viscous, almost like molasses or syrup. This thick liquid could then be forced through tiny holes in a machine called a spinneret to form solid fibers, much like spaghetti coming out of a pasta maker. For weeks, Kwolek experimented with different formulas. Then, one day in 1965, something strange happened. One of her beakers held a solution unlike any she had ever seen. It was thin, almost like water, and cloudy, with an opalescent, milky appearance. By every known metric, it was a complete and utter failure. The textbook definition of a successful polymer solution was the exact opposite of what she had in her hands. Any other chemist would have tossed it. It was junk, a mistake, a dead end. Common sense said to pour it down the drain and start over. But something stopped Stephanie. Her intuition, that quiet voice of scientific curiosity, told her to look closer. She saw something in that cloudy liquid that others would have dismissed. She had a hunch that this strange solution, despite defying all expectations, might just be something special. So, against her better judgment and the established science of the day, she decided to test it. This brought her to the spinneret and to a man who was not at all happy to see her. The spinneret technician was the gatekeeper of the lab's most expensive and delicate piece of equipment. His job was to make sure nothing broke it. He took one look at Kwolek's thin, watery solution and refused. He argued that the solution was so thin it would just pass through the spinneret's fine filters and clog the tiny holes, potentially ruining the multi-thousand-dollar machine. His fears were completely valid. He was protecting company property from what looked like a foolish amateur mistake. But Kwolek was persistent. She trusted her gut. For hours, they went back and forth, a battle of wills between her scientific intuition and his practical experience. Finally, worn down by her stubborn insistence, he reluctantly agreed, probably thinking he'd be saying, "I told you so," in a few minutes. He carefully loaded the strange liquid. The machine whirred to life, and then the impossible happened. It worked. Not only did it work, but the fiber that emerged was astonishing. It wasn't brittle or weak. It was exceptionally strong. Back in the lab, tests confirmed what Kwolek had witnessed. The fiber was off the charts. It was a new class of material. Chemically, it's known as polyparaphenylene terephthalamide. Its strength comes from its unique molecular structure. The polymer chains are stretched out and aligned perfectly parallel, linked together by powerful hydrogen bonds. This creates a sheet-like structure that is incredibly difficult to break apart. By weight, it was 5 times stronger than steel. A new supermaterial had been born. DuPont named it Kevlar. Initially, its journey to fame was slow. Its first major application was exactly what DuPont had hoped for, a lightweight, durable replacement for steel in racing tires. But its true calling was yet to be discovered. Scientists and engineers soon realized that layers of this woven fabric could stop bullets. In the 1970s, the first Kevlar bulletproof vests were introduced to law enforcement. The material was revolutionary. It was light enough to be worn for a full shift, yet strong enough to stop handgun rounds, saving countless lives. From there, its applications exploded from fireproof suits for firefighters and armor for military vehicles to ropes for suspending bridges and even components in spacecraft. The failed experiment had become a life-saving miracle. And what of Stephanie Kwolek? She never did go to medical school. She stayed at DuPont for 40 years, registering 28 patents in her career. For her groundbreaking discovery of Kevlar, she received numerous awards, including the National Medal of Technology, presented to her by the president. Interestingly, because she signed her patent rights over to DuPont as an employee, she never earned any royalties from Kevlar's billions in sales. But she never seemed to mind. For her, the reward was the discovery itself, the satisfaction of following her instincts. Her legacy isn't just a material. It's a testament to the power of observation, persistence, and daring to question the rules. She taught us that sometimes the greatest discoveries are hidden in what everyone else sees as a failure. We just have to be brave enough to look.